shattered to unbreakable. Listen here, sweet sister. Whether you think you have one little crack or you are shattered into a billion pieces, this podcast is going to give you the resources, tools, and skills to help piece yourself back together to form a beautiful, unique, solid, and unbreakable masterpiece. You are listening to Shattered to Unbreakable, the Reclaim Podcast. Let's talk. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Shattered to Unbreakable, but this is no regular episode. This is the 100th episode, and if you are listening, you'll notice our guest because her beautiful laugh. If you're watching, you'll notice our guest because her beautiful self. But I have Aubrey here with me again. Aubrey Fowler, the whole reason this podcast ever started. Glad you're
That is
here.
my fault.
It's totally your fault. This is all your equipment that I've been borrowing shamelessly. It's beautiful because you started this and worked really hard getting all these podcasts up. And I was so spoiled because I was just the talent that came in and didn't have to worry about the setup or the takedown or the editing or the posting. And then Aubrey's decision to step back and spend more time with her family was fully supported and so beautiful. And then I learned all the stuff she did. And it was hard. But tell us how your life is going, because I know everybody wants to know, like, I would like you to walk us through how it's been taking that time for your family and how it felt spiritually and just emotionally and what kind of peace it gave you.
Yeah. So I first would like to talk about, like, coming to that decision was not easy because I love this.
Yeah.
And it's great. The editing is the least favorite part of every, like, video editing, photo editing. It's everybody's least favorite part. And I felt like, and this is just entirely on me, nobody was putting this on me, but I felt like I was kind of backburnering my kids, and we're homeschooling and, things like that. And that's completely upside down. And I was looking forward to this less, and I didn't like that.
Yeah.
So I decided that I needed to focus more on them, and having just kind of that weekly demand was hard.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful that you were supportive, and we talked about it and came up with a plan to do maybe shorter episodes and stuff. Because one of my concerns was that it was going to be too heavy on you because it's a lot. But the kids and I, we got into a great rhythm with our homeschool, and we were able to do more intentional things. And I had the freedom to, like, take the day slower. We're getting Caden evaluated for autism right now. So school is hard. School has been hard. Just from the beginning, he doesn't like it, the structure and the demands and things. So sometimes he likes to start his day like with a bath, and we do a little bit of school and we take a break. Knowing that he and his sister were my only responsibilities for the day, I felt the freedom to do that, to, go at their pace, or, what, we need to get outside today. We can just do it whenever we need to. We did school a few times over dinner because we just did other random things during the day. And so we, like, in the evening, we were able to do that. We also, there wasn't any big medical issue that spurred this on, but it just so happened that we were able to afford some blood work, and got the kids tested, got myself tested, and found that Caden has both the genes for celiac. Both the kids are gluten intolerant. And that's a really hard switch. Any of you who've done it, that's a really, really hard
to go gluten-free in your whole home.
Yeah. And the kids were troopers. Like, they were disappointed to lose out on some of their favorite snacks. I was disappointed to lose out on some of my favorite snacks because we did it as a family. I mean, that's how genetics work, right? He got it from somewhere. We all did it together. And I'm very grateful that I was able to give all of my attention to that and continue homeschooling them, because it's just, that was a whole thing. We're running together as a family. That's super fun. So
it's all benefiting.
Yeah, it's been really good just to have that intentional family focused time. And I've noticed a change in my kids' behavior. It's been great.
Yeah. I want to draw attention to the fact that you said I was looking forward to it less and less. And I just want to reiterate to people who, because this was like a volunteer thing. Neither one of
Yeah.
us are paid to do this.
Right.
And so now if it was your job, that's different.
Yeah.
It's like, we'll pull it together. That's how we make money for the family.
Yeah.
But this was a commitment that you made that was volunteering your time. And then you started realizing that that didn't align with where your life was going. So I just want to put that out there to you all, because I know there's so many of us women who are like, that sounds fun. And you start doing it and it is fun and it's exciting when it's new. But if you're volunteering for things that are draining your energy and aren't aligning with your life, it's important to listen to that and make a move, even though it's a hard move,
Yeah.
to step back and reevaluate your life. And so it benefited your family and you. I love that you listened to the whisper before it became scream.
Yeah. And this wasn't the only thing that I pulled back from. Like, I was
Right.
volunteering at church weekly, and that was just, it was too much. And it didn't have anything to do with my faith. Like, my
Right.
faith is good, and we're still active in the church. We're going to, going to church every week still. But it was, my husband and I weren't sitting together at church because, like, we're good. Our marriage is good. But he was volunteering too. And so I was like, we were trying to figure out how to juggle, how do I go to church and then still serve at church, because our church has multiple services. And he was back in the tech booth doing that. And we both felt very fortunate to be able to serve. But at the same time, it, like, I couldn't just enjoy those things.
Right.
With my husband. And so we both pulled back from our volunteer capacity there.
Yeah.
And we can, like, and it's silly because it's not like he wasn't listening to the service. He was back there in the booth.
But it's different when you're working versus sitting and soaking in and meditating on and reflecting.
Yeah. And we have better conversations now after, which, like, that's the silly part. Like, we both heard it. We could have still had these conversations, but it's different when you're sitting right next to each other. And it's been great. And we've just taken Sunday to completely dedicate as family time. And it's led to some really positive shifts there.
I love that. I love it. So all of you, don't overcommit. And if you already did, it's not too late to say no.
Yeah, it's okay.
Just try it. It could be a season. Like, if you pull back from commitments and then you realize you either miss them or you feel guilty, like, figure out where the guilt is coming from. You can always volunteer.
Yeah.
Later.
Yeah.
But just see, you might find some peace you didn't know existed, which I love. Okay, beautiful. Well, we're talking about all of the episodes to date, 100. 100 of them. And were there some that we didn't number, or did we count those when we went to number? I feel like maybe.
I think I counted them.
Okay.
I went back and started over.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So we're not lying. It really is 100.
Yeah.
But I don't think the bloopers counted. Those were just extra.
Yeah. And I think there's a couple, like, digging deepers, and I don't know if the Brandy's bookshelf counted towards the count. So we're at 100 plus.
Yay! So what I thought we could do is go back and go over some of our favorite episodes. And then you guys have to go listen to every one of them that we mentioned.
That's your homework.
Actually, I kind of want to go back and
I know.
So as we were scrolling through looking at all of the episodes, the first thing that I noticed was the first 4 are like gold. Even though we were just learning editing, I was just learning how to even, like, speak to not a person.
Yeah.
And I think I said some really stupid stuff a couple times, and I was just like, I can't believe I said that. I think, what was one of them? I almost, it felt like I was saying, it was such an honor for you to be listening to me today, or something. It was so dumb. I was like, that sounds so, like, conceited or vain the way I said it. That's not how I meant it. I meant it was an honor to be having the privilege of you giving your time. That's what I meant.
You felt honored.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember the first episode, because you're funny. You all know this. Brandy's hilarious. And so I was like, I felt like I needed to be silent because, like, you weren't having a conversation, because I didn't actually start contributing until later.
Yeah.
But I was sitting there, so you were actually talking to me, but I was trying so hard not to laugh, like biting the inside of my cheeks, trying not to laugh.
It was like the cough in the arm, but it was a laugh in the arm.
Yes, like, I could not maintain my composure. And then we decided to nix that, and I was literally labeled laugh track. I did the labeling.
Aubrey was the laugh track.
That's what I called it. And,
That
But
helped me so much, the energy of that.
it
Like,
was
doing them
fun.
by myself now, I still think I'm hilarious, but I don't know when other people are laughing or not. So I'm like,
That's
"Oh,
great.
that was funny. I thought it was."
That's awesome. And we did the very first episode, we flew through it in what, 8 minutes?
Yeah, it was bad.
And
We had
then
to go
we
back and
yeah,
let's do that again.
that was awesome.
And we had to re-record the intro like 17 times because it's amazing how you don't sound excited when recording something you're reading. You have to
Yeah,
like memorize it and say it as if you're talking to a child.
yeah.
And we had to re-record that over and over.
We did. So when my husband was doing more video with church, we did video announcements. And
Mhm.
I recorded those with I was the on-air talent a couple of times. And it was fun. And so I remember reading it and he's like, before we started, he says, read these with energy and, smile. And so we read through the first one.
Yeah.
He goes, great, but smile. And I was like, I didn't?
Was I not?
Did I not? I really thought that what did my face do? So you
What
have
were you
to
thinking?
really over dramatic,
Yes. I
and it
remember.
feels so
Shatter.
weird.
Unbreakable. That
Oh,
was hard. And then there's the times when I record a whole podcast and realize the sound wasn't even on. Yeah, there's that. But so the first 4 episodes, the raw, real, unconventional, there's
yeah.
find your purpose, the tears, and then there's the goal setting one.
Yeah, that one was
That
good.
was one you mentioned.
Yeah.
Diversify your goal portfolio.
That was a good
I
one.
love when we talked about Ed Milet was saying you should only achieve 25% of your set goals.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, snap, I didn't know that. I thought
Yeah.
you're supposed to achieve all of them.
Yeah.
And he was saying, no, then they're not big enough. If you're hitting every goal, they're just not big enough. You have to be comfortable with failure and realize that it's actually not failure. Like a big goal should come with some form of failure.
Yeah. But
And
that's
that made
so
me feel
hard.
good.
Like it's good,
I
but
knew that.
it's it's a really hard place to be. And that's why I loved that episode so much because it was you have to give yourself some wins.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's sure, maybe fail at 75% of your big goals, but
Mhm. Make some attainments.
because I sometimes pants. I'm going to put on real pants today.
That is
And I met that goal.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need that because
Aubrey
we had to wear clothes today
I'm
because
not wearing
we're not
pants,
under.
but it's
For
legal.
most of our video episodes, we had a table, so nobody
Yeah,
knows.
you don't have to do anything.
But anyway, we all have days where taking a shower is too big. That's too much.
Oh,
I
yeah,
can't do
that's
that
definitely
today,
my thing.
So on those days, if you were to look at your metrics and be like, I failed at 9 out of 10 things I tried this week,
Yeah.
that's enough to put you back in bed for the day.
Seriously,
So
especially for overachievers,
yeah,
perfectionists.
yes,
Yeah. It is hard. So though I think the way that we've structured that episode was to say, have some easy goals
yes,
and then have some mid hard goals and then have some freaking hard goals. You know what I
yes,
mean? And I'm doing this warrior program and they call it the realistic goals, radical goals, and impossible goals.
Yeah.
Make a goal where it's impossible. There's no way you could hit that goal.
Yeah.
But then go ahead and divvy out what it would mean in daily habits to achieve the goal and just start striving to do those things. Granted, you're probably not going to because it's impossible. But if you do impossible tasks once a week, maybe,
Yeah.
you're going to hit a lot bigger goals than you would have without that.
Yeah.
So,
and all the things that you have to achieve on your way to that goal, that's really, I was just thinking about, I'm jumping ahead in the season, but we talked about productivity hacks.
yeah.
And one of the ones we talked about was dump and bump.
Yes.
And one of the things I mentioned was when you have differing energy days, like a low energy day and a high energy day,
Yeah.
you have your best looks different on each one of those days.
Exactly.
So depending on the best that you're capable of that day, set realistic goals. Maybe showering is not realistic on a low energy day, but you
Yeah.
can can you empty the dishwasher? And these are, I
Mhm.
stay at home, so all of my goals are home related. But that's great. I met my low energy requirements for today. And
Absolutely.
then the days when you have high energy, that's when you build the chicken coop. We got chickens this year. It's
That's
so fun.
right. I can't wait to come play.
It's so fun.
That's cool. Yeah, no, I agree. The different days with different energies call for different lists.
Yes. Yeah.
And if you're having a bad energy day or a low energy day, you can say, okay, this high energy list is going to do tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make a new one for today.
Yeah.
Which is totally valid. I
Yes.
love that. This episode's already great. Okay. And so going past some of those first ones, there's the Live Life Curiously, which we both really loved. Because and I feel like that's super relevant right now with all of this political mess going on.
Mhm.
And then also like the stock market crashing makes people cranky and everybody's really scared. By the way, all the people like the stock market crashing, all the people that know all the things are not that scared. And that's because it always goes back up. So please don't panic. This is a cycle that repeats itself throughout history. Everything will be okay. But with all of like the presidency and it's just such an extreme when you have two candidates that just have such extreme differences, it's really hard not to have really extreme reactions to one being chosen over the other. And so I think the Live Life Curiously episode is beautiful because it does force you to ask more questions about the origin of why people are the way they are. That's why I'm never afraid to have a disagreement with somebody because I'm not necessarily worried about proving my side is right.
Yeah.
I am actually more interested in figuring out how that person got to that viewpoint.
Absolutely.
Like, what experience did you have? Who did you know? What happened to you? What happened to somebody else? Like, I want to know how you got there because usually it's a very valid reason why they believe what they believe.
Yeah.
And if you had gone through the same circumstances, you might also believe that.
Yeah.
But it gives you perspective and empathy and compassion for people rather than just hatred if they don't agree with what you agree with.
Absolutely. And I think it's probably after we recorded that episode, but I remember very vividly watching this reel or something that somebody was talking about why they don't worry about other people's opinion of them. And the short answer was like, because I never knew their opinion of me. Like I was just making it up in my head. So really what I was doing was making you mean to me, but I don't know that. I don't, like, I remember being in the grocery store recently and I was just like staring off into space, and I don't know what my face was doing. I never know what my face is doing. So if my face has ever said something mean to you, it didn't mean it because I was just like thinking about something random and there was something happening. I was in the self-checkout line. There was something happening at one of the far ones. And then like right here close to me, her kid wanted to help. And we all know what that's like. And it takes 10 times as long, but I didn't care. I was just thinking about, later, whatever. I don't know what I was thinking about. And she kind of glanced at me and kind of encouraged her kid along. And she said, because people are like making faces. And I was like, what did I do?
My face, I was not.
I didn't mean to do anything. So yeah, but we do that
the
all day long, don't we? Like somebody crosses the street and we're like, oh, they didn't want to be next to me. And that could be true, but it also could be that they remembered where they need to go is on the opposite side of the street and they are on the wrong side because I've done that. And I don't actually know where I'm going.
The actual episode, you had mentioned a circumstance where you guys were behind a big truck and you were wondering why the heck they weren't moving. And then you realized that because there was like a woman and a child in front of the truck. And they couldn't move. But at first you're like mad, like, come on, pay attention, get off your freaking phone. It's not actually what's going on.
No, it's not. And my husband gave like a courtesy honk and everybody got mad at us. And we were like, well, we didn't actually see the person in the crosswalk. So there was, trying to be helpful. It was a whole lot of misunderstanding happening in that situation.
So live life curiously, ask more questions, get to know the reason behind why somebody's doing or feeling or saying what they're feeling, doing or saying. That will help a lot.
Yes.
Okay, let's see. So what are some of the other ones? We talked about that. We did get deep for a while. There's some deep ones.
We did.
We noticed a few trigger warnings in a row.
Yeah.
Because we talk about really deep things, which I think were good because it was like trauma and how it affects your brain. We talked about narcissism and the effects that has. We talked about people who were abused being silenced just to protect the abuser or because they're threatening the silenced person. The most listened to episodes were Brainspotting is number 1 now. Didn't used to be.
Yeah.
It was Navigating Narcissism, which is now the number 2 spot. Brainspotting's been listened to 184 times and Navigating Narcissism 179 times.
Wow.
So that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
But those are the 2 main ones. Navigating Narcissism is a very controversial episode because it doesn't teach you how to leave a narcissist. It teaches you how to stay.
Yeah.
Which essentially teaches you how to leave. But
yeah.
it is why and when to stay and how to protect yourself if you stay.
Yep.
And a lot of people can't leave due to either financial reasons, they are physically scared, or they don't have the support that they need, or they just don't have the courage, or they think maybe they need to stay for the kids. It's just a really good episode if you are in a narcissistic relationship and either can't or don't want to leave. It's a great episode for that reason.
And if Brandi's saying that don't want to leave sounds confusing, I encourage you to listen to the episode.
Yeah.
Because there are definitely reasons in which you may not have the desire to leave.
Exactly.
And there are ways that you can do to make your day-to-day life a little easier
more
if you choose to stay. Yeah.
It's all about managing stress levels too.
Yes.
You can learn how to not let the narcissist stress you out. And there's different levels of narcissism. It's not just like, oh, you're a narcissist, you're this monster. There's levels and like a spectrum or a continuum, or what? Not a continuum, spectrum of narcissism.
Yeah.
And we all kind of have a little bit of a narcissistic features just as humans. So it's also not wise to just label somebody narcissistic because they like to look in the mirror or something. I don't know.
Right.
But those are really good episodes. We have some speaking events that we had been on, like Women in Business, which was really cool. That was the Spring Bloom and Grow or something.
Yeah.
That's a really good one since it's springtime now. You can go back and listen. And then we had the AWAN conference, and we had a speaking event down in like Littleton or something.
Yeah, that was the productivity one, I think.
Yeah. So those were really good. I did want to mention the healing while hating. So my therapist told me sometimes you have to hate to heal. And it just means that you have to be mad. That's a part of grief, is being angry. And so I was trying not to be angry because I'm a good little Christian girl and I don't want to be angry and I want to forgive because that's what God wants me to do. And my therapist was like, that's all good and great and everything, but you need to hate a little if you really want to heal from this. We're dealing with a predator who's hurting you and your family. You are not supposed to like them or pray for them or whatever. And I know there's like a very fine line. Like, obviously, yes, I'm supposed to pray, blah, blah, blah. But I needed the season of hating to get through the healing. And it's so funny because right before that episode, I don't know why or what happened or if I forgot or something, but I had a beer before that episode.
We got spicy,
Since we were talking about hating and I had a beer, I was spicy Brandi.
Yes.
I was all about talking about the hate. If you want a little laugh knowing that I had been a little tipsy and then recorded that one, go listen to it because it's a bit funny.
Yeah.
And then last but not least is the what doesn't kill you makes you funny.
Oh man.
We've been rolling.
That was hilarious. That was a lot of fun.
All the cliches. It's all the things everybody says. Even I say this thing. But it's kind of like the here's your sign billing ball thing. Like, you know, you over on the side of the road and somebody pulls over and goes, hey, and he's like, nope, the other three just swelled right up on me. It's so fantastic. Good. Is that y'all's piano? No, that's our coffee table. It just has buck teeth. There's so many good smart aleck remarks. But in that episode, we talk about all the stupid stuff people say.
Yeah.
Like when you have 4 kids and somebody says, you do know how babies are made, right? I always said, because I know, but I stopped washing our laundry together months ago and it's still happening. It's just so ridiculous what people will say. But
it is, yes.
That's a good one. Yeah. That one we laughed a lot in. What was the other? There was one more. We were talking about, what was it? Something that had to do with Sussy time.
I remember talking about labeling recipes better than sex.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Be rolling. I'm pretty sure both of us peed our pants and cried ourselves into a tizzy that day.
It was hilarious.
Ryan. Oh my gosh. That was so funny.
Oh, I'm crying now.
But so what was that? We'll have to find it.
Yeah, it was. We'll look for it. But it basically boiled down to like, just make sure y'all are okay. Because yeah, there's some concern over, I don't know how I want to phrase this. I'm trying to like,
just say
be delicate.
There's delicacy has no place here. It's called Shattered.
Like, I wonder at all of these, like, better than sex recipes, like, are you actually being satisfied? The risotto's okay.
What episode was it in the funny one?
I think so.
Okay. We're going to have to look back. That was hilarious. That's true. Like, if you're going to claim that, then I need to be sure that you know how satisfying it really is.
Oh, that's what I said. That was a good risotto, but I didn't want to take a nap after.
That's it. That is what you said. Oh my gosh, that was so good. And people have different levels of experiences with being satisfied. So, like, are you somebody who has been very satisfied and you're calling it better than sex, or are you somebody who has not been very satisfied?
Some background on this recipe.
Like, how much satisfaction are we working with here?
Oh, that's hilarious.
I'll put all these episodes in the show notes so you guys can go back and look. Yeah. But I highly recommend both, like, Brainspotting, and the bloopers for sure.
Yes.
And then the What Doesn't Kill You Makes You Funny.
Yeah.
And then as far as our guests go, my favorite guest was Brie Walta when she did the Why Healthy Relationships Feel Boring, part 1 and 2.
Yes.
Not only did we laugh, but it was packed with amazing information, including trauma bonding and how that affects your brain. So
I don't know how we got all the way through talking about those episodes and didn't mention Brie Walta.
I know. She was phenomenal.
That was the first time that I had met Brie, was over Riverside. And it was, man, we just kept inviting her back.
Was she our first guest? And then we just had her back like 4 times.
I think she might have been. Yeah. We just, like, I feel like she almost replaced me. Like, just, and I would have been okay with it. I would have been all right with it.
I love it. EFT tapping. She did all kinds of stuff.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for coming on here and reminiscing with me.
This was fun.
2 years.
Yeah.
We've had a really good 2 years.
It has been a good 2 years.
A little bit more than 2 years, I think.
It was around Thanksgiving. Yeah. So it's
been 2.5-ish.
Yeah.
Almost. This is so exciting. 100 years. Let's high
100
five.
years.
Oh, 100 episodes. Let's re-high five. 100 episodes. Blooper reel. Okay, well, as you know, you need to stay sparkly, sweet sister, and we will see you next week. Bye. Thanks for hanging out with us today. I just wanted to remind you about the resources we have on the reclaimstrategy.com. That is Reclaim University with free downloads. It's the Reclaim Guidebook, access to Kintsugi classes and events. So go ahead and take a look. Also, please share this podcast with anybody that you think might need to hear these messages. And if you haven't already and you think we deserve it, give us a 5-star rating. That just helps our reach. So I love you guys. Stay sparkly, and we will see you next week.